Hi Falconers and old car restorers. I wanted to talk today about the direction that I'm going to be going with this car. My original brainstorm idea when I first thought about doing one of these was I wanted to do a Restomod kind of car that would probably be the equivalent of a modern higher performance car like a Mustang. I wanted to be able to handle really well, and I wanted to have a fair amount of power and all that kind of thing. Lofty goals and expensive goals, quite honestly. I could just buy a modern car that could do all that. In fact, I have a Mustang that can do most of all that. After buying the car and looking it over and starting to work on it, I kind of came to a different conclusion about what I want to do with it. I still want to go down sort of the Restomod path, and I want to make it handle decently. I want to give it power, but I don't want it to be insane. I think this car would make a nice cruiser. I think it would be a nice car to take on trips, maybe go on like a power tour with, but I don't need it to go down the drag strip in 12 seconds. And I don't need it to tear up an autocross course either, to be honest. But I want it to be capable of doing some of those things in a hobbyist sort of way. If I take it to an autocross, I don't want it to fall over on its face. I don't want it to go to a drag strip and do a 15. So I'm going to back off a little bit for my initial dream of the ultimate late 60s Falcon. This is a very nice car. It's very solid, as I've shown you in previous videos. I'm not interested in doing anything to the outside cosmetically other than just cleaning it up. I like the paint that's on it. It has a nice look. I think we can give it a little bit of a shine, but we're not going to worry about it being a showpiece. I've owned showpiece type cars in the past. I did a full restoration of the car when I was very young, and honestly it was a giant pain in the ass after it was done because I was in constant fear of something happening to it, constantly cleaning it to keep it up to the appearance that it had generated. And it really didn't add any enjoyment to it for me. So with the success of things like Roadkill and Vice Grip Garage and some of these other people that are just resurrecting these cars and running them as is cosmetically or with very little enhancement, that's the path I wanted to go down with this car, regardless of what I did to the undercarriage. So we're going to do the V8 conversion. My original intent was to put a T5 in it. I'm maybe backing off from that. As I look at what this car is probably going to be tasked with doing, I'm thinking more that I might just keep a C4. And that's still in flux. We don't know where we're going to wind up with that yet. I like the T5 conversion in these old cars. I think it makes for a really pleasant driving car, and the overdrive fifth is really nice to have if you're going on the highway. The C4 won't have that, and that's one area of concern. But I'm looking at what I'm probably going to be doing with this car, and the necessity of a manual transmission, as much as I like them, is probably not that strong. So we'll look at the automatic options. Suspension-wise, I am doing a coilover conversion, mostly because I don't want to have to deal in the future with these death-generating springs that this car has. Plus, the suspension system stock is rather limited. The coilovers will allow us to adjust ride height, and also the damping is adjustable in the shocks that I got. And I'll show you those here in an upcoming video. We are going to change the disc brakes. I'm still undecided about how I'm going to do that. Do I want to go with a 1960s caliper, same as the Mustangs and the later Fairlanes had, or do I want to go with a single pot, less expensive conversion that's much easier to do? And it will also allow the use of some different wheels that some of the other conversions don't allow you to. I thought about doing the Willwood thing, or a Bear, or something like that, but the expense of that is a little mind-numbing, and also, again, the key is asking ourselves, what are we going to do with this car? Is it really going to need massive 4-piston brakes to stop it? What exactly are we going to ask this car to be doing? And I don't think it's going to need anything like that. of an opinion to try out the least expensive options at the best ideas that we can come up with in that realm. So it's just right now I'm trying to struggle with, do I want the 1980s single pot caliper, or do I want the 1960s twin pots that are, you know, accurate for this vintage car? Is one truly better than the other? That research is still ongoing. Wheels and tires, we're not going to go super big because I don't want the car to look like it's got donks put on it. I want it to look like a 1960s car. The idea with this Falcon is I kind of want it to look like a sort of GT rally type car in appearance when it's done. Something that you could have potentially bought at the Ford dealer. I liken it to a Mark II Ford Cortina, but much bigger. So we're going to do wheels that kind of reflect that vintage look. I don't want to go with anything from the modern era. I'm going to add a big sway bar in the front, probably none on the back, because I don't think it's going to need it. And sway bars on the rear of cars like this sometimes can make them a little tail happy. Steering. Could we have gone to a rack pinion? Absolutely. We could have done a whole conversion in the front for several $1,000s and completely eliminated what's on here, which is antiquated, to admit. The steering box is probably one of the least exciting things about keeping things as they are. But I don't necessarily want to go the rack and pinion route because that can make the car twitchy. It kind of goes a little too far to the other direction if you're putting big wheels and tires in one of these and that sort of thing. So for more in-depth conversations about these things, I would recommend checking out the Restomod YouTube channel. I'll try to put a link below to his videos. Very good discussions there about all of this kind of thing. The rear axle, I'm going to change it to an 8-inch because that's a bolt-in. I don't think the horsepower I'm planning on is going to need a 9-inch. And the 8.8s all require machining, welding, cutting to make fit. And I don't think that they're going to be that much better than an 8-inch. So we're going to go with the 8-inch first. If I wind up breaking those, then we'll do something different down the road. Keeping the leaf springs in the back. I'm going to see if I can get some made to lower the car about an inch. And that's going to be it for the drive line. The interior was so close to just being salvageable the way it was. The door panels are good. The headliner is iffy. The carpet was shot, so we had to replace that. The seats were almost good enough to reuse, but the driver's seat is literally falling apart. The upholstery is just disintegrating every time you sit on it. So I'm going to have the seats redone. So we might as well make the entire interior pretty nice. The headliner I'm going to hold off on for now because it involves taking the glass out to do a proper installation. So the car is going to be a little bit more budget than I originally had maybe planned on. But I think that's the baby step that should be taken. We can always change things later on if it's something that doesn't suit us. Will it potentially cost us money to do it twice? Sure. But I also think that all this stuff that we can try, if we don't like it, we can sell it to somebody else for a good portion of what we pay for it. So that's kind of where I decided to go with this car. It's a little different than maybe what I originally intended, but I think it's going to be an easier build. It's going to be a little bit faster build. Although it is a long-term project, I want it to be on the road in the next 6 months to at least enjoy for a while. It may not have everything done. In fact, I can guarantee you it won't have everything done. It's going to live with the 6-cylinder for a while. It's going to live with the drum brakes for a while. But eventually that stuff can all be rectified. And we'll be able to do the engine and transmission, build that up and get it ready while we're still driving the car. And that's one of the things that I think happens too often with guys is you get one of these projects and then you want to completely dissect the car and start with a bare shell. That's the right way to do it, but it also opens up the possibility that you're not going to ever finish it. Because taking one of these cars apart completely and doing all that, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of time. And I've done that, and on this one I'm going to do it a little bit differently. But as you've seen in the videos, project creep happens very quickly. There is some rust repair work we got to do to this thing, and I'm going to be starting on that here soon, because I have to get that corrected before I go and put the carpet and all that in. So you're going to be seeing that in an upcoming video. But that's the direction of this car. It's going to be a little bit more maybe common man accessible than what I originally thought and what I may have alluded to in the first video. But ultimately I'm going to have a car that could be driven anywhere, all the time. In any weather, we don't care. Obviously not going to go out in salt and snow with it, but I think it'll be a fun car that is very approachable, and we're just going to have a lot of fun with it versus some Trailer Queen full restoration. But if you like polishing cars, I guess that's for you, but that's not for me. So just wanted to update you on that. That's the project direction. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I look forward to seeing you soon.